There are few people in church whose geekiness rivals my own, and yet Jane Horsfall manages to do it with such a grace and wonder that it is really something fantastic to look at. Jane, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm Jane. I was born in Woking in Surrey, so I'm a southerner. Moved to Manchester in 1983 with my husband Steve. We have 2 daughters, Jess and Charlotte, and...
So you've been here for a while then?
Been here a while,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not that we have anything against southerners, you know.
But I still say Bath.
Constant bone of contention in our household, so it's how will we raise the children, you know, Bath or Bath?
When Jess was little, with her ear for languages, she used to say grass to me and grass to her father, who comes from Yorkshire.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you met Jesus?
Yep, didn't go to church as a child, occasionally with my grandmother, so no church-going sort of history, family history sort of thing. So moved to Manchester, met some friends, and one of my friends was part of Urmston Community Church, and she told me about it, and I said very hesitantly, do you think I could come with you? Not knowing that was probably the best question I could ask. And she was like, yes, of course you can. And then... so that was in 1992. Started coming to church, very quickly realised that although I'd always believed in God, he was a bit up in the corner of the room and not sort of part of my life, and realised that I could have a relationship with Jesus, and and it all went from there. So,
that is fantastic.
So I was 30 when I became a Christian.
Wow, okay. So how would you say it affects your life now?
I have difficulties with anxiety and depression, and I think that at my times when I'm lowest, God gives me hope. I know that there's always God, and that even if I'm feeling at the end of myself, I've got God there with me, and that's having that hope and that companion all the time is really what keeps me going.
Someone else to kind of keep the black dog at bay.
Absolutely, yeah. When I get to the end of myself, I know that he's there, and he will look after me.
So you got two daughters, Jess and
Charlotte.
Charlotte, thank you. Charlotte's the nun?
Nope.
I always get my nuns mixed up.
Charlotte is married to Barry. They live in
okay.
Swansea, and they have 3 lovely children.
Right, okay. And when Jess was young, she came out to you, didn't she?
She did, yeah. So
do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. When she was in school, year 11 I think it was, she came home and said that she was a lesbian, and I got it really badly wrong and said things to her like, oh, it's a phase, don't tell anybody, you'll probably grow out of it. And we've talked about it, and I've said, I'm really sorry because I really got it wrong at that point. She got older, and when she was in university, she did a year in France because she had a language degree, and she wrote me a letter while she was in France and said, dear mum, I'm sorry, but I've got a girlfriend called Marie. And I was heartbroken that she felt she had to be sorry. And so I texted her and said, I've just had your letter, Jess, and you need to know that I love you and that I always will, and nothing is going to change that. And I think from then on, I got it right. I got it better.
I've just become a parent fairly recently, and I'm trying to anticipate any things that could sort of come along. So if she was coming out to you again, if you could do it all over again, how do you think you'd do it differently?
I think I would be more accepting. I would not try and tell her it's not what she really thinks and that it's not what's real, because to her it still is. And I think that I was very demeaning of her and her feelings at that time, and I put more emphasis on what other people thought and what other people would think about her, and as a result about me.
I mean, it was the 90s though, wasn't it? So it was
Yeah.
It was not a particularly easy time.
No, it wasn't. No, but I had other friends who were gay, but I think you just never think it's going to happen to your children. And in my head, she was going to get married, she was going to have kids, she was going to, and with sort of one fell swoop, it sort of gets swiped away. I come to terms with it now, obviously, but yeah.
And obviously, it's not as finalistic in some of those areas as it was then. So
no.
It's quite a big thing to adjust. Listen, thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's not, and thank you to Jess as well for letting us talk about that. Now let's get to the meaty stuff, the really important stuff.
Okay.
What's your favourite Star Trek episode?
Well, that has to be Next Generation, Darmok.
Right, okay.
So this is the episode in which Jean-Luc, I call him Jean-Luc, he said that's
Your
fine.
first name terms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jean-Luc gets stranded on a planet with the captain from another land, and the person who he's stranded with, although he speaks, the international translator can translate his words into English, he speaks in metaphor, and so they don't understand each other. So he talks about things like timber when the walls fell, and these are myths and legends from his civilization. And so
Darmok and Jalat.
Darmok and Jalat, that's absolutely.
Shaka, when the walls
fell. Yeah.
So, okay, all right. So why does that episode stick out to you?
I think because Jean-Luc had to work at having to communicate with this person, and it wasn't easy. And I think that in life we have to work to communicate well with people who aren't like us and who don't necessarily think the same things as us or speak in the same way as us. It's about listening and about really hearing what somebody's saying, rather than just trying to put your own version of stuff over everything.
Absolutely. Jane, I could talk to you all day on this, and I probably will, but we'll stop rolling now. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Very welcome. Thank you.